like.
Alright. That good?
Yeah, I think we're good, dude. Santi, when's the last time you lied to yourself, bro?
Last time I lied to myself? Probably today, saying that I was gonna like lock in and get all my work done, like super fat, like just lock in. Then I ended up going to that dinner, and then now I'm like semi-locked in because I'm not fully. I mean, I'm like still engaged, but obviously we're talking right now, so I'm not fully locked in. But this is how I like to go about my homework anyway. Like, I get two in my head when I do homework by myself.
What about you, Liam? When's the last time?
Really? Lied to myself?
Yeah, even the smallest thing.
I'm thinking. I don't know.
Do you think in the last like year of you being really locked in, you've lied to yourself?
Probably about certain things, yeah.
What kind of things do you think?
Like,
Even if you don't remember specifics, like what kind of things do you usually lie to yourself about? Like something like you're doing like a set and you like told yourself beforehand that you're gonna do a certain amount of reps, but then you get like tired or something like that, or
yeah, I think especially like when you say that you're going to like wake up in like a specific time, or like
I have.
if you have like a process that you go through, like we've been talking about for a while. If you have like a workout process and then like you miss on it, or not even miss on it, but you don't do it aligned with this certain time, then it like kind of.
But do you think that's lying to yourself though? Because like let's say for example, like we're doing like the morning workouts.
Yeah.
If you sleep like, because like my goal, my purpose isn't specifically to do it at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
or 7 a.m. Like it happens to be then, and I happen to like be locked in on that time most of the time I'm doing it. But like, I feel like if I like, let's say like my class got canceled, I sleep until 9. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's lying to myself if I still do my 2 workouts in the day, you know.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
But like,
That's how I feel. Like even if I don't do it at the right time in the morning,
if I still get everything done,
if I
it's
get
just
it
like,
in, I get it in, and like I'm not gonna not get it in.
because I feel like my emphasis on it isn't that it needs to be in the very early morning, you know.
Yeah.
But that it helps, and honestly, it's my emphasis isn't on that, but like it's honestly the best workouts when it's as early as you plan on it.
Yeah. Do you
You know?
feel like you're gonna have a specific like wake up time at any time in your life, or soon or later?
Yeah.
Because I do too. Like I want to wake up at like a weird time and have it every day, like no matter what. Like even if I have people over, or like you got stuff going on the next day, like I want to have a set time that I wake up like no matter what, like a non-negotiable.
I think Fridays and Saturdays I've had a hard time doing that, just because
Yeah.
it really feels like that's the time where I can stay up.
Yeah.
But I think on the weekdays I've been pretty locked around 7 to 8. But
Yeah.
I would like for that to be early. And I think after college, it'll be very possible for it to be even as early as 6 or 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Because you got to think about, like, most likely if we're working, like, a 9 to 5 job or something like that, you're gonna have to wake up.
Right.
Especially if you want to do an hour workout.
And you have, like, a set thing, right, where, like, you don't sleep in anymore. Like, I don't have days where I sleep in. Like, I remember when I was younger,
I slept in today. I slept in this morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I won't, like,
Well, actually, no,
sleep.
I didn't, because the Arsenal was playing at 9, so I woke up at 8:55, and I was like,
Yeah, like no matter when I go to
Yeah.
bed now, like I can't sleep in. Like I'll get up still like before 8.
oh, that's what you mean. Yeah.
Like, you know, like when you're younger, you might stay up till like 11, or no, you might sleep until like 11 or like 3 in the. I remember there's probably a day where I slept until 5.
Yeah, 100%.
When I was younger.
100%.
You just have
Well, that's because, dude, there's days
no
when I was younger when
structure.
you guys hit all-nighters back in the day?
Yeah,
Holy shit, you feel like absolute shit then.
yeah,
Oh. I remember doing like the shit where you'd like had like the PSP, the PlayStation Portable or whatever.
yeah.
I had one of those, or I might have had a DS at the time either, or it could have even been my phone.
Yeah.
But I remember my parents would always, every once in a while, like come in my room to check on me if I'm asleep or some shit
Really?
like that. I don't remember what age this was. Like it was definitely before high school, obviously.
Yeah.
But I remember like the classic like you're gaming and then you hear him coming and you put it under and go to the side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you just game all day.
Yeah.
All night. Which is crazy because I don't even have an inkling of my thought that that's what I want to do anymore.
Yeah. Like I feel like there's a big pull for people our age just living more in the moment now. You know, like how everyone's talking about it now too. Like you almost run into anyone our age, and everyone is almost like willing to forego technology.
Yeah.
Like everyone really doesn't
Everyone
wanna
understands
be
that it's a bad thing.
like
at
almost everyone we're around, at least like we're in a college environment, but it really feels like that now.
least. Yeah, like all the
everyone
girls
I
we're
meet.
talking to, everyone, like,
Yeah,
everyone at least, even if they don't apply it, they're like, we know this isn't something good.
you know what it is? I think that people are starting to realize that like it's almost like too much stimulation, and we're human beings, so everyone's like naturally reverting back to like a natural state where they just want to be in tune with people, because like I guess COVID and other things like tore us all away.
Yeah, everything eventually reaches back into equilibrium, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or at least aims to.
Yeah,
But I don't know, I do think most people are actually going in a good direction
I do.
instead of a bad one.
Yeah, I think this whole thing that we've had to deal with like phones and technology, because everyone talks about it, I kind of think of it like a snake, and it's gonna like bite itself in the ass. Like it's almost like a circle. Like it's gonna go away, and there's gonna be like a reset, like where people are.
I don't
just,
think it's going completely away. And I think when
Yeah.
this AI stuff gets back, it's gonna get even worse.
But even like these kids who are like really young, like iPad
Dude,
kids,
it's
you would
way
call it.
worse now.
But like I think they're going to like once they grow up, they're gonna reject it. You know?
I don't think so.
No.
I think the reason we can reject it is because we experienced a point in our lives without it.
Right.
Dude, like, literally, Russ and I were at Walmart trying to return that speaker,
Yeah.
and you're just standing in line, there's just like a family there, and like the kid is just locked on TikTok. And he's a young kid, dude. I 100% didn't have a phone when I was that young.
Yeah.
And he's locked. You could just tell he's just sitting in line, just going, and like his mouth's even open. Like you can tell he's just like zoned out completely, doesn't see anything else, and it's just like, and it's just some like stupid bullshit TikTok dance he's watching. No, I think it's gonna get worse. I think our reality that we see right now is more optimistic, and we see better stuff just because we're doing better stuff.
Yeah.
And think about this: most of the people we hang around with, we probably hang around with them because they're not doing this shit as much as we perceive as being a bad thing.
That's
you know
what a big thought that I've been like pondering the past couple of days is like that whole idea I told you, like your frequency is what you frequently see.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever you're thinking and like the people that you're around, like the world is like for you, right? The world is as you are. So
The
like
world is
as
your oyster.
yeah, like as you walk around, like whatever you're feeling and like seeing, like those are the people you're going to see. You
Yeah.
know, like it's all interlinked in a way.
Yeah, facts. I don't even know what you guys said prior to that, but based on that sentence you just said, like, if after you've met, like in high school, I always went to the same people. I went with like the same people to school every day, like just in general. Like we all grew up together, and I hadn't even like actually met or gotten to know some of these people, but I was always like in school with them. And then I remember we like met this one girl who was in like the grade above us. And all of a sudden, I was like seeing her everywhere in town, and I probably would have been seeing her if I had been like actually had met her. And that's something that's like a very surface level example of what you're saying, but it's a very clear example.
Yeah. Or it's like if you ever like, dude, I remember freshman year, you'd have a crush on a girl. No way, you never seen her before. You see her once, and then you start seeing her everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same shit.
Which is funny because there's that irony, the ironic like saying too, like if you're somewhere randomly at a concert or like the amusement park, whatever, you're gonna like see a girl that you're like, oh my god, like you like immediately are crushing, and then you never see her again.
Right.
Like that one meme.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I think, because like think about this, like if we have new people or new girls over, or new guys over, something like that, if they were to be here sitting on their phone, probably not coming back.
Yeah, they're not gonna come back.
We're not gonna I wouldn't
Like
want that.
everyone that we see and engage, we engage with. Everyone that we hang out with on this porch here, we engage with. You know.
Yeah.
Like the groups of people we've had over here, we all engage with. Like you all get to know each person to some extent, and yeah, I think that's good because like, I think like the thing with the phones that we're talking about is that it just comes down to like a lack of authenticity. Like people are like scared to be themselves, when in reality, like we've talked about, like everyone's unique. Like literally, I think every single human being alive has something to bring
Yeah.
to the table. But the thing is we get it fucked up in the world through distractions, and phones is just another one. It just like breaks down your thought because you're just comparing yourself all day to other stuff.
I mean, I think like what we were talking about when we were hiking the other day, like the mentality of offering yourself.
Yeah, becoming an
rather
offering.
than like receiving or like searching for something specifically.
Yes.
Rather than just offering yourself as authentically as possible. I think like people don't even understand that that's like, I feel like what life is you offer rather than aim to receive. I mean, that's like the thing people say. It's just like, don't like, I mean, I don't even know what the saying is, but like something to do with like give gifts. Don't like look to like, don't try to get something from someone. Try to like, you know, it's better to be a giver than a getter.
Yeah. And the thing is a lot of people like, it seems like a lot of people, they like want all this stuff for themselves. But then in the end, like you talk to a lot of people who have like made it, whatever that is, money, success, whatever. And they don't really feel like they have it. They feel like they're missing something. But then like the people who really become like an offering, like we were saying, is like a lot of those people, like they don't really feel like they're missing anything. Because like when you give, you just get back, you know? You just, every time you give, you get something back.
But I also think when you like give like that, it's like, it's never not enough because it's like, offering something is such a broad term that like there's no right amount to give if you just give.
Yeah.
If you're just like, you could say like glowing with like energy that you're just flowing off.
Exactly.
There's nothing, you know what I mean? If all like, if theoretically like you had a finite amount of energy and all your pores opened up and it just left you, there's no specific amount, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It just goes.
Yeah, and the thing is like a lot of people forget that we're all like beings with a lot of energy. And like who you are as a person is projecting to the entire world, everyone you see and interact with every day. And like a lot of people like just kind of think that like they're living a regular life and they're not affecting everyone, but you are, like no matter who you are, like when you walk around, you like look at people, talk to them, like you're giving them like who you are.
Yeah.
So the thing is like you have to know who you are, because like that's how you can give the person that you are to the world. And like the person that you are is gonna be the one that's like actually gonna make a difference because it's authentic, right? It's just like living authentically.
Dude, and you can even think about it like in the sense like how negative it is to always be like, if we're talking about like energy, like giving or receiving or whatever.
Yeah.
How like of a toxic thing it is to always receive, because like with social media and in general like that culture of always being when you're always receiving.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what makes people like go, you could say like crazy or like super depressed or anxious, is that there's no equilibrium. You're receiving all this shit and you're not letting off any.
Yeah.
And it's just like you're receiving all this stuff and you do, grow, and then you just blow. Whether it's depression, anxiety, I don't even know, like just being like crazy in a way, in a not good way. You know, just like, because everyone's just on their phones, like receiving, and then the small amounts of time through those people's days that are just watching TV on their phone or something like that, the small amount of times where they have human interaction, first of all, half the time they're still on their phones and they're still receiving stuff, when they're really just supposed to be like emanating their energy and sharing
that
and
energy, and like we said, that takes a lot of work, to like a lot of self-development and like spending time alone to figure out who you are, so like you know who you are so you can like give that to other people. Like I always saw this message, it's like create the person or the man or the women that you desire and like give that to the world. And like I feel like a lot of young people aren't really doing that nowadays, just because there's so many distractions, so you can't really like get down and figure out like who you are, because it's hard, right? You have to like really question yourself, like, I mean, where am I going, what do I want to do, where am I trying to get to in life, like who am I?
And you have to
once
do,
you
like,
figure that out, though, you can really like project that onto other people. Not that you're trying to change them, but it's just like, this is who I am.
It's
like,
not even projecting on other people, it's just project.
Just
project yourself. But like I think it's really interesting, like those points, especially when you're like meditating, or like I'm obviously new to trying that out, but even when you do it your first time, just wherever you are, like just close your eyes and just think. It's like you know that example of like trying to define words without using the same word in it. You know how sometimes with certain words that's like really hard. I feel like with meditating it's like a similar thing, that when you meditate it's like you start realizing that a lot of your thought is bound to other objects or people. Like even when we were at the park like the other day, like I was just like, I was going through those like basic, like trying to just like hearing the water flowing and just like trying to think like
When we were at when we were hiking,
trying
in
to
the
do like
woods.
what am I doing? What do I
Yeah.
want to do? And it's just like when you start thinking about that, the first things that come to your mind are paired with exterior things that have nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
With either a person, like some action or something like that, rather than genuine like action
Yes.
or something like that. And like same way it's hard to define some words without using the same word. It's just like that it's a skill you gotta learn, and like we have so much shit that you, like you said, you kind of have to separate that shit, and at least goal to be able to separate some of those things and be able to think about those things raw without thinking, oh, this person, or I want to do that because this person or because this girl or something like that.
Yeah, and the thing with
Nobody thinks like that.
Yeah, the
Nobody
thing with
does.
meditation that's so interesting, because we're like, when we tried it the other day, one thing that I really noticed, even like from the meditation that we did out in the woods, is I really like got into like, I just got in tune with the water, and I went somewhere with it, and then I realized like there's a lot of static in my mind. And the thing is like we've been having a great time hanging out with a ton of people lately, and like it's a great time. I think that's very beneficial. But I think you also have to get to a point where your mind is clear. And when we were like sitting down meditating, I realized like there was so much just like I couldn't like really get in tune. Like when I closed my eyes and I was really trying to get to that place, it was almost like I could like feel the static. I could feel that there's like a lot of noise and
Leftover like remnants of energy.
and that's
or something
energy,
like that,
and that's
yeah.
real. You know, when you really get in touch with that, it's a real thing.
It's the loud music we listen to every night. It's
Yeah.
the listening to which isn't a bad thing, but like
Yeah.
listening to everybody speak and stuff like that. It's
listening to other people just projecting.
you need
onto
to heal.
you.
It's like it's almost the same thing as like going to the gym and like how you grow muscles by tearing that muscle down and healing it back. Like I feel like it's the same thing like socially, is that like
Yeah.
when you are receiving all these like energies and stuff like that, like that's a good thing. Like
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing. You shouldn't be like a hermit and never receive energy, just
exactly.
live in a rock. But at the same time, you need rest to let that like the frequency like balance itself out, relax, like enjoy itself, like realize what it is itself, and then keep getting more and more surrounding information and energy,
Yeah.
and just grow and exponentially from that.
Yeah. And I think like it's hard, right? Because there's like a balance to it, because you need to hang out with other people. Like you can't just spend all your time like out in the woods alone. Like you can, but like you need people to bring you up and down. But I think to some extent, like if you can't become comfortable with yourself and just like maybe going out to the woods once in a while and like trying to actually like figure out, like I was saying, like who are you, where are you going in life, and like you really like can get stuck with other people's stuff, because like if you're not okay alone, then like in the end it's all you, right? Like you were born into this world you, and you leave this world you. Whatever happens after, like no one really knows, but like it's all in your head. So if you can't be comfortable just alone by yourself, and like people get it messed up because they think you're lonely, right? But you're not lonely when you're with yourself. Like
Yeah, because you're not alone. It's just like
yeah, because this is your world. Like
Yeah.
you're literally going to leave you at one point. And if you can't literally just be comfortable with yourself, like if you're literally like sitting alone and you literally feel like you can't just relax, like you're like itching that you need to hang out with somebody, or like turn on the radio, or like listen to something, you just can't sit in your thoughts, then like I really feel like that's something you need to work on,
Yeah, that's like me for real. If I'm alone and I'm not on my phone, and I can be with my thoughts for like a little bit, but like eventually I'm gonna have to turn on music or something.
yeah, or something.
Like not, like I can't go more than like fucking 10 minutes of my own thoughts.
No, and like even us, like we're trying to be so like. Also, Santi, be careful shaking that.
Oh, sorry.
It's like,
Like even with us, like we're trying to be like so like healthy in terms of all our habits.
yeah.
But like, even us, when's the last time you spent a day without music, without TV, without your phone, without other people?
Yeah, I can't even tell you. Like,
I
it's-
don't think
yeah.
there's been a day like that
Mhm.
in very long.
Yeah.
If the closest I've gone is probably a day where I was just gaming all day,
Mhm.
like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago.
Are you
But
saying
even
where you
that's
spent too much time on it?
No.
Oh, like
Well, yeah, that at those points I did. There's never been a time where I've, like, with intent spent a day truly alone.
Truly alone, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something we should try.
For sure, I think it's
Even
really
if it's
important.
just like us together, but still genuinely no no specific activities like a game or like we could be walking or something like that. But no music, just food, workout, talk, no phones. Like literally not like put it away, don't even like check notifications for a day.
Yeah, for a whole day.
I feel like we should try that soon. I'd be so down because I feel like
And-
that's a really
And one of the biggest things, dude, is I really feel like this in today's world, just deciding to do that will change your perspective. It's almost like taking a drug.
Yeah.
Because reality now
is a drug.
is a drug.
Well,
Because-
also because we're so not used to reality.
Yeah.
That it's the same thing as people who are used to reality and they take a drug and they feel completely different. Now experiencing all this world raw
yeah.
is almost like a drug in itself because it's so wildly different
Yep.
from being under the influence of certain.
And the thing is we're pulled into it, right? Like Sam's right now doing homework on his computer. Like for school, for our jobs, like it's all tied into technology. And the thing is all of that is wrong. We're not supposed to do that. Like it's not right. Like I know like people have to work and you have to do things, but if you look at human beings in our naturalistic state, which is why we're here on this earth, we're not supposed to be intertwined with technology. We're supposed to live our lives and like, you know, like hunt and eat.
That's one thing that I think like we're not supposed to be intertwined with technology, but we have it.
Yeah.
And we can control it in a way that's very beneficial. Me and you both, even in a healthy manner,
Yeah.
we could.
Yeah.
But the problem is we don't. Because you could use it for just work, for contacting relatives or something like that. Like my relatives are in Russia. Like, dude, like if I just threw away my phone, like that's a connection. Like I wouldn't have seen or even talked to them in 3 years or something like that. Like that's brutal. First, especially me, like my family's very important to me. Like
Right.
that's fucked. But at the same time, like if you learn to use it in a beneficial manner, it can only help you. Because it's just like if you were naturally it's just rocks and sticks and stuff like that. But if you have a toolbox, why not use that toolbox? Now, if you're hiking everywhere and you're having that toolbox in your backpack, yeah, it's gonna weigh you down. But at the same time, if you have a home base to have that toolbox and you use the tools, it's only gonna help you.
Right.
So like I think the point is to use it. Like we said, like with the urges, like on alcohol, or even like for men, for example, like sex,
Yeah.
to control those urges. Like,
Yeah.
it's, you could say if you're being super primal or stuff like that, like a man's like fucking horny as fuck, like he should be fucking all the time. But like we were saying, like, but at the same time, like when you think that, you're giving control to something else. It's part of you, but it's still like you're giving control to a certain urge.
Yeah.
And in that same sense, like with technology and stuff like that, there's a darkness that comes with it. Same thing if you're like a man whore or something like that. There's like a darkness that comes to that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's if you control that urge, you can channel that thing in a way where there's no darkness.
Yeah.
And same thing like with our technology, like we all have that urge to use it a shit ton.
Yeah.
Or be on Instagram or use Twitter or use Snapchat or something like that. We all have that urge.
Yeah, and
There's a way to do that thing without having that urge control you. But we're all, even me and you, in a certain way, like, you still have Instagram. I just deleted Instagram. I still check it every once in a while, you know what I mean? I still check Twitter. I still check Snapchat, like plus it. There's still, like, some kind of urge that, in a way, is controlling us.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting?
And we're trying to get
about
away
this?
from that control,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And I think you can. This is the one thing that I think about this all the time. And I think this kind of sums up what you're saying, too. Is that there are very few things that you can actually control in this world, right? Like you can't control if it's gonna thunderstorm tomorrow. Like you can't control if you're gonna get into a car accident and die tomorrow. The one thing that you can control is like your own mind. Like you can take control of your own mind. Like if you tell yourself like I hate watching, let's say, porn or something, and you say like, all right, like I'm never gonna watch this again in my life. Like and you control your own mind and you tell yourself like I'm gonna do this. And then like you have control over that and you don't fold on that, you don't miss on that, then you're taking control, right? But like so many kids nowadays, they don't have any control in their life. They're literally like waking up late, like maybe watching
doing
a porn
whatever
video.
urges pull them towards them, you know what I mean?
Like no control over their
like
life.
they'll be sitting in bed, they'll be bored, they'll be like, well, like some hot chick will pop on Instagram and they'll just fucking jerk
Yeah,
off,
and you
something
gotta
like that.
think about this. You gotta think about if you can't control your own mind, then how are you going to create anything you want in this world? Because the world's unlimited. Like you see it
There's
online.
unlimited random
You
events
see it with
happening,
people that you know that are doing well in life. is like there's unlimited potential out there. But the thing is like you're not going to be able to achieve any of it if you can't just like control your own mind.
Yeah.
Like if you can't take control and say, all right, I'm going to do this today.
And
That's
that
like
goes-
even with the working out thing too. It's like you can really stretch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we see people like we talk about David Goggins and like it's like people think that like this stuff is impossible. Like oh like you can't run nearly 300 miles in one sitting. But if you stretch enough, it's like belief is like a muscle, you know? If you stretch enough, like anything is literally possible.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think you really have to take control of yourself.
No, and that goes back to what we were talking about, like lying to yourself, because like a lot of that, like, well, first of all, a lot of people don't even have the like, I guess you could say free will. I'm not free will, but like the knowledge about their own unhealth, that they even have an urge to be like, maybe I shouldn't watch porn, or maybe I shouldn't like stay in bed, or maybe I should work out. But first of all, some people don't even have that urge, and they're just completely fine doing what they're doing and living unhealthy lifestyles. But at the same time, there's people who know exactly what they're doing,
Yeah.
and then they know what they're doing is wrong, and they even like have an urge to fix it, but then they start lying to themselves. They start saying, "Oh, I'm done watching porn," but then they have like a little night where they're just like, "Oh," and they watch it.
Yeah.
Or they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna start working out every day," but then like this like vacation comes around, or they meet this
Yep.
girl, or they meet a new friend group, or they join a fraternity and stuff like that, start drinking a bunch or something like that, and then just throws all out of whack. And then even if you consistently are like, I want this, it ends up being that like out of a year, because so many times you just like these little lies you could say that you
Yes.
add up to yourself, they add up, and then that whole year you made zero progress.
Yeah. And I think the one thing is, if you lie to yourself, like we're talking about, like if you say something to yourself and you don't commit yourself to that, or like you lie to yourself, like we're saying, then like who even are you? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Like we were saying, like when we talked about the lying to yourself thing before, like where like your initial reason, like there was a point as a kid where you didn't lie.
Yeah. Because
And
kids are very honest.
Yeah.
Like it's really interesting, dude. Like kids are super honest.
Yeah. And they're super playful, and
Yeah.
they're just like we said, they don't care about. Now they're starting to care about phones. When we were kids, we were fucking jumping around, climbing shit, acting like animals in a
Yeah.
good way.
Yeah.
But then like there's a certain point where like your parents tell you to do something, or have some kind of rule, and you just start lying, and they really have no negative consequence at first. But then like there you're just doing like a negative thing towards someone else. It really has no effect on you. But then there's like a certain point where you start lying to yourself about yourself, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
Because like you are yourself. There's no like you lying to someone else is like, okay, well they don't know what you're doing, so like there's theoretically you could say a benefit to lying, because they don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So you could theoretically get ahead some way by lying to someone, you know what I mean? Telling someone a
Yeah.
story that isn't true.
And we've all
telling
done
someone
it.
all of us
Yeah.
done it. I've probably done it recently, even
Yeah,
by
yeah.
accident, because it's such a habit.
Yeah.
For most people, I think it's a habit as well.
It's a-
little fibs here and there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then when you lie to yourself, how do you even lie to yourself? You already know what you're thinking. There's no thing like curtain where you don't see behind it. You see behind it.
Dude,
So lying to
yeah.
yourself is just like, what the hell are you doing?
And it gets trippy when you talk about that too, because like when you like said like you do a little fib here, you tell a little lie there, like when you look at like the universe and the world or whatever in like terms of like energy, frequency, and vibration, I've been trying to control that a lot. When you like say a little lie to your friend or something, or you don't really tell the truth about something, I think that it comes back to, because it almost like splits reality in two.
Yeah.
Because you like you
The multiverse.
No, because you basically like say something that's not true to your friend, and then it creates like a whole story, and it's just like
just spins it
Yeah.
out of control, and again it diverts from reality,
right.
and then you have multiple storylines with different people that divert from reality.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's one thing that's a really good like discipline that people get. That's one thing I've been working on for the past year too, is just like completely honest with everybody.
Yeah.
Because like that's you, right? Like when you're completely honest about everything, like that's your highest authentic self.
No, and then you think
And
about
it's sick.
if
You
you're
get so much in return from that.
yeah, and if you are lying around, like you got to think about what benefit you're gaining from that nowadays.
Yeah.
What lie could you tell recently that gets you benefit? Okay, it could give you a little short-term attention at a party, something like that. But apart from that, like, I mean, maybe if you lie on your resume and you get a job,
Yeah, right. Like,
that could get you a little bit of benefit. But
right.
yeah, and like I'm not saying that's okay to do, but I'm saying like there are still ways that it really doesn't really do that much. You know what I mean? But overall, you probably get that. But when you're doing everyday life, it's just like there's no reward. There's none. It's
No.
short. There's a little short-term satisfaction, and again, that goes back to like a talk about like short-term satisfaction versus long run too.
Yeah.
Comfort versus discomfort.
Yeah.
It's just like, because usually you lie because it's just like it's just comfortable. It's just like you're just like talking about something. Someone thinks some certain thing is cool, and you're like, you kind of like push into that and say some cool shit that you did or something like that, and then it's just
Right.
like, okay, yeah, okay, but why?
Yeah, and then that diverts you from like who you are.
Yeah.
That diverts you from like who you truly are as a person.
I think there's also a good way of lying to yourself, but in the sense that it's like lying to yourself as in like if you're unconfident or something like that, lying to yourself who you are.
Yeah, I mean that's a big one too because you like if you
But that's
really
not
want
even a lie.
No, yeah, that's like a belief thing because if you really want to like change yourself.
That's like manifesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the right word for it, is a lie, because it's not a lie. Because also it's like you are what you believe you are.
It's only a lie if you don't manifest hard enough that it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Right. And like
Well, then that goes back to the lying to yourself thing, because if you're like, I'm going to be confident, and you just stick to being unconfident, you're just like fucking
yeah,
lying to yourself.
it's so crazy because it's almost like you have to be like delusional at first, and then the delusion like becomes a reality.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're fat and you want to get fit, you literally have to like believe that
Even
you're the
at
type
that
of
point where
person-
you're fat, that you're fit.
Yeah, and it's delusional.
'Cause
But
you feel-
after a long enough time of you believing it, you almost like forget that it's a delusion and it becomes a reality.
Yeah.
Like it materializes.
I mean, that's an example of that. That's literally like there's certain things that are like anecdotal, where it's like kind of like you believe and like you're confident or whatever. But the thing with like being out of shape,
Yeah.
if you're the most out of shape person in the world, and you just start believing you're in shape and doing what someone who's in shape would be,
Yeah.
eventually it'll turn into reality. Like you
Yeah.
said, like it literally will.
Yeah.
Almost no matter what. Like if you work out, eat healthy, all that stuff, you just do what you imagine a healthy person does, it's gonna change your life.
Yeah, and it's like the same thing with anything, right? Like it could be the same thing with like wealth and abundance, success. Like you almost have to like 100% believe that it's gonna become true, even though it's like delusional. Like you live.
But
in
also
like
that belief comes with, because you can't, even if we believe as hard as we can that we're gonna be the richest motherfuckers in 2 years, you're not unless that belief comes with honesty.
Yeah, it comes
And like
with
the
self-honesty.
honesty about like, okay, I can believe I'm gonna be rich as much as I want, but the honesty about that is a rich person's not doing what that person, you know what I mean, is doing different things.
Yeah.
And the honesty with yourself is when you want to believe something, you also have to like know the steps to get there, or at least take steps to get there.
Yes,
Always. It's always
self-honesty.
steps, yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you think about like anything that you can even believe, it's like, or believe you can achieve, like something that you haven't achieved that you want to have belief in, whether that's like talking to a girl, losing weight, getting financial freedom or something like that. Like all those things, it's some tower with stairs to climb. And you can, like, we could say like lying to yourself would be like looking at that tower, saying I'm gonna get there, but just looking at that tower. But
Right.
true belief and true no lying to yourself is, damn, Pinto's trying to open the door. Look.
Oh yeah.
But true like belief is seeing it and going and walking up the stairs, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Because you know everything you can possibly believe that you can do, we know steps towards it.
Yeah, like
you know
like
a certain
you
step,
know
you know
what you need
a
to
step.
do. Like that's the thing. We all know what we need to do.
Everyone.
Like if you're out of shape, you know what you need to do.
Yeah.
You know you need to just cut the food back and work out. Like whether that's one little thing. Like we all know what we need to do.
And the thing is, the funny thing is, because like you could say like a devil's advocate to that, like, okay, you're super depressed. You theoretically like you're sitting there like depressed like with your life. Like, I mean, I've never been to the point where I've been like super depressed, I don't think.
Yeah.
But like, if you're there, I think there's people in the world who genuinely think that they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, even if there's not something that you can do that you think will directly benefit that, you know there's always something to do.
Yeah.
Because there is always something to do. You can always learn something, do something. You know what I mean? There's always something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially with the depressed example, I feel like a lot of people, I mean, it's like, it's hard, but like, it's like, okay, you might not know specifically what steps to get better in terms of that specific condition. But you know what steps are just good for you that you probably aren't doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
There's always something to do.
You bring up the depressed thing, dude. That's a big one for me because I'm one of those people too who like I really don't believe in depression because I feel like for me at least, every time that I've been like quote unquote depressed is when I've been able to actually change my life. And you know the thing is people feel like pain in this world, so they run to like a doctor or like you know all these drugs they have to like mask it. But if you just face that depression, that's what's gonna change you and like bring you to the next level. But people are like scared to do that. They want to feel better. But like literally every time I've been like depressed, it's only elevated me to the next level.
Well,
I've only changed my life.
The way I view kind of like depression, and I think the way it's been for me in the past, isn't like a emotion like sadness or feeling really sad. That's just being sad.
You guys
For
check
me-
it out.
For me, like depression was always like feeling empty,
Yeah.
feeling neither sadness or happiness. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's like when you're saying like that, those are the best moments
But
of growth.
yeah.
Well, yeah, because when you're sitting in bed and from your point of view, there's nothing. You can only fill that nothingness with shit.
Exactly. Like
You know?
like you're saying, like, okay, it's empty voids.
Even
just
if you
gotta
have stuff
fill
to
it.
do, even if you have, like, say for example, you have a job and you're just like depressed and you're sitting in bed, you're missing work and stuff like that. Well, and even if it's like a shitty ass job and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and you genuinely like really want to quit that job or something
Right.
like that, but it's just depressed in bed. Well, yes, that's the best moment of growth because in that moment, you're so depressed or empty that you don't even care about that job, and so you have all this space. You know what I mean? All the space to do whatever with.
Yeah.
To either move towards a career in something else, to work out, to change
Yeah.
your life.
Bro, that's what I'm saying.
It's the
like,
area, and like I don't even like to look at it like the lowest point. I mean, where it is like that, where it's like the lowest point. Yeah, it's the best place to be because you got the the most possible amount of space to go up. You know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I like to think of it more as it's just like an empty backpack. You just have space to fill that backpack with shit. Like, yeah, you theoretically if you're living and you just have no objects, you're probably homeless. You don't have shit. But at the same time, there's only stuff
Yeah.
you can do to fill it.
And-
Whereas like if your
yeah.
backpack is filled with shit, yes, it might be filled with great stuff. But at the same time, it's harder to fit more great stuff in there. You know?
Yeah. And that's interesting. Like, I feel like that topic kind of goes well into, I think we talked about this the other day, is that you can like make it to where there's almost no way that you can like lose at life, right? Like, remember we were talking about this? It's like imagine like you're like completely like homeless and you just have like nothing going for you. But like if you don't have like any things that are holding you down, like you have like no vices and you have like control of your own mind, like we're talking about, some type of discipline, like you really can't lose. Because like even if you're at that lowest spot, like you're like under a bridge or some shit, like you could literally like, and you have control over your own mind, like you're only gonna go up, right? Because you're only gonna try and better yourself. Like if I had nothing right now, I had no money and I was like homeless, like I'd just start running. Like I would just start doing like push-ups somewhere or something, or do pull-ups under a bridge, and like just do that till I get a job, then get like a haircut, and then like start filming videos. You know what I'm saying? Like it's endless possibility. But people get like depressed and they just think that like they need to mask it with, I think drugs and all this stuff, dude, is just tearing people away from who they are.
Yeah.
Because I honestly think any human being, I'm really on that right now. It's like you can do anything. You know?
Yeah.
Like the possibilities are endless. Yeah.
They literally are. No, but the drugs thing is a crazy thing because I mean we've all done them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean there hasn't been any point where I've smoked or even drank or anything like that where it's been like where there's been something that you're running away from. Even if it's not like a very negative thing to run away from, like you want to fit in socially or something like that. Like there's moments where probably weed or alcohol or something like that has helped me greatly. If anything, had a net benefit at the time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like net, you probably gained overall. Like you met some people that you needed to like networked or something like that, or
Right.
or you just like met like a good friend. Because I think there's Actually, we're gonna retract what I was about to say. I was about to say, like, I bet I've literally met people smoking or drinking, and then thought that they were afterwards been really good friends with them when I'm sober.
Right.
So actually, I don't think that's true. I'm trying to think, like, me and you didn't meet through smoking or drinking.
Yeah,
I
no.
don't think I met Santi through smoking or drinking.
I don't even remember when I know it was last year, but I don't know.
It's definitely
Where
Liam
it
brought you
was.
somewhere, or
Yeah,
Cat
it was probably like a short introduction. Oh, I
Probably-
think it was
probably
E-Hall. I think it was
probably
E-Hall.
E-Hall,
Yeah.
But I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think most of the people that I've thought that I needed to smoke to be friends with or drink to be friends with, I'm not friends with them now.
Yeah.
I think the closest person that I think I am still friends with, that I probably became friends with because of a vice, is probably like Arnis and them.
Right.
But even them, like, I'm not that close with them that it's like as I am with you or Santi or like all these other people. And yeah, they're far away now, but still.
Right.
Like, I feel like that's, yeah, net benefit in the moment, because like, yeah, I was friends with them, I had a good time with them, but over the long run, like, I didn't really gain that much from doing it.
Yeah.
And every time I did it, I was running away from something.
Yeah.
Whether it's social anxiety, or I was a little bored. Boredom was a huge one for weed, huge
Yeah.
one. Because you're bored, you got nothing to do. What better to do than smoke weed and be kind of content with doing nothing? What better
That's
than
very true.
Yeah.
That actually, yeah. Ever since I became a stoner, like
There's
I
so many
became
times
way
where
more comfortable with just doing nothing. Like
well, because
me and my friends in high
especially
school,
when you smoke weed, it's not like you're doing nothing. It's you're smoking weed. But then
Yeah.
it's just that activity of smoking weed, and then you think about like your activity is just doing something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
doing something has no benefit to you, and it's just like makes you content with nothing. That's
true,
crazy.
and that's why it causes laziness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the reality with weed that's hard is I think weed is a good, like, everyone smoked weed. And it can really put you in a good setting a lot of the time, especially if you're into music and art. But I think the reality is that it tears away at your energy in some ways. Is that, like,
I mean, all these
the
things.
way you move around, the way that you, like, carry yourself, the way that you, like, walk into a room. Imagine if you're just fucking, like, on your shit and, like you walk into a room and, like, nothing's like getting you a little slumped over because you were high yesterday, or like you were drinking,
Or getting
and
you slumped over
you're
because you're just
hungover,
in your
or-
head a
or you were
little bit
watching
more.
porn, you're jacking off, so you're a little bit like sluggish today.
Well, dude, it's not even sluggish because of being high, but it's also sluggish. Like, okay, you're maybe thinking a little bit more. So instead of your eyes being up here, ready to make
Yeah.
eye contact with anyone, your eyes are a little lower, not trying to make eye contact with as much. Like when we were talking about the thing about like, if we're ever like on campus, and instead of going down your phone or something like that, but literally just sit somewhere, anywhere where there's a bunch of people and look around. And it's like a weird thing to do. Like we talked about it. It's
Yeah.
literally like like literally people will think you're weird.
Yeah, like literally.
Because I do that in Cobb all the time. Even
People
when I have my
watching's
phone
great,
out.
dude.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, people watching.
But even when I'll have my phone out, because I'll be like scrolling through music, trying to find a song, like I'll just be all the time just like having my thing out, listening to music. And you realize that people find it weird that you're looking at them.
And the interesting thing is that, like, nowadays it's literally like, especially in college campuses, it's literally like weird to be sitting and observing. It's like people feel as in college that you need to, like, if you're not doing something, like if you're not like working on something, whether it's like you're like fixated on your phone or doing your computer, if you're just sitting and you're watching people start tripping the hell out, because like people feel in this environment, this college environment, that you need to be like constantly doing things.
Yeah,
And like a lot of that is just like crazy to me.
it is.
Like,
No, it's ridiculous. Because I mean, yeah, it's ridiculous.
yeah.
But it's the same thing. It's all those things add up, like exponentially grow, and then you are slouched. You're not walking into a room with eye contact. I mean, eye contact's a huge one. You got to think about like a lot of people have really hard time with eye contact.
Yeah,
Even I do.
I was talking to my younger brother today.
Like,
and,
I mean, even right now, like I'm trying to maintain eye contact, but it's a little weird. Sometimes I'm
Yeah.
like, there's like a thought that pops in my
you know,
head. I should look away for a
It's
second.
something that people, a lot of us young guys don't realize. It's something you have to work on. Like you have to work on all of these things. Your handshakes, as many handshakes as you're doing, as many eye contact conversations you're doing, like the way that you walk into a room and present yourself to people, like anybody.
And that's the same thing I talk about, like where every day is a weekend, in
Yeah.
the sense that like that, every single day, every single second,
Yeah.
you have an opportunity to do something that benefits you.
Yeah. And
Whether
I
that's-
was gonna say real quick though about that conversation
Yeah.
before is like I was talking to my brother this morning and he's in a frat, you know, and he was going
Speak
to
up a little more.
he was going to these rush events and like he was saying that he's talking to all these kids coming in and they're like, you know, they're probably like 18 years old or whatever, but they can't even look them in the eye and they're like this, they're like tweaking, they're like moving around weird and like they can't even look you in the eye like you're saying, and it's just crazy to see that because like if you can't do that, if you can't correctly communicate with people, then you're not going to get anywhere.
Well, I also I find it so strange that eye contact is a weird thing.
Yeah.
Because like, what has trained us to think that eye contact is weird? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
why?
it's not
Why
eye
do we
contact
think
in
it's
general,
awkward?
It's like too much eye contact. 'Cause it's just.
Good.
Well, it also depends.
But like,
I
why?
don't know.
Why
It's
is
like
that a
in-
weird
I
thing?
don't know.
I think it's an animalistic thing. That's what it comes down to.
Because if you think about it, if you genuinely like, I remember Kylie even told me in some of her classes, like in Columbia or whatever, where she's doing like spiritual stuff. They literally had like a training thing, where they literally would just sit and stare into someone's eyes for a while, and they'd have like a certain question that they would be like asking or something like that. But you'd literally just sit there and as long as you can, and that's like such a unique exercise because you realize that like when you're staring into someone's eyes, it's a very deep connection.
Yeah.
Way more so than just speaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like it's almost a scary connection too.
Yeah, and that reminds me of also what we were talking about the other day on our hike was that, you know how like when you're talking to somebody and then you're thinking about the way that they're viewing you, and it's like you kind of have to like know who you are and like not let the other person like penetrate how you're feeling. You know,
Like,
what
eye contact
you know
helps
what I'm
with
saying?
that, honestly.
Yeah, it's like you're just completely listening to you, like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But what I was saying is like how every day is like a weekend, or not every day is a weekend. There's no weekends. It's just
Yeah.
it's just day by day. Life is just day by day.
Mm.
But that's a good thing, because people have the negative concept about the weekday and
Yeah.
such a positive thing about the weekend. But at the same time, like when you start viewing life differently, it's like, well, like every single moment is a time to improve, whether that's eye contact or reading a book rather than going on your phone, or
Yep.
cleaning your room or working out or something like that. There's literally no moment in your life except when you're sleeping where you couldn't be doing something better,
Right.
or leveling up somehow, or like you said, stacking wins in any way.
Yeah, like how you do one thing is how you do everything, you know?
Everything. And so like how is a weekday bad when a weekday is so much opportunity to sit in a room filled with people on your phone and look and observe,
Yeah, I love
or
that. I
have a
love
conversation
that,
with someone random walking by and look them in the eyes.
Yeah.
Someone random you never met
I
before.
love that mentality, that aspect of life is that it's really
It's just
like
days.
there-
It's
there's
just day
no
by day.
there's no like I think a lot of us get plugged into this system of work and then relax. And the thing that's crazy is that like really like we're all on like different journeys, right? Like we're all the authors of our own story. We're writing our own books. And the thing is like it's not like week after week and relaxing after relaxing, then working, then relaxing. It's really just like your life is a culmination of every single day that you're building.
Every single second.
Yeah. And why not make the best character of the story, you know? It's like, yeah.
Oh, why not improve every day?
Yeah.
But it's also like work and relax. Like, what is work and relax? Also, that whole concept comes from like the idea of like a calendar of a clock.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about it, if you're just like here, it's just like the sun goes down, the moon goes up, and then the sun goes up. Like, yeah, and you probably sleep during the dark because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
But apart from that, like, it's not. And I think people get tied up to thinking that you have like limited time here, theoretically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like theoretically we do, but when you get caught up on that and think of every week as like, and again we're using this language like week, 7 days or whatever, like it's just like grouping of certain times to make you like, I mean, to make like work and 9 to 5s easier, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because otherwise like you don't really need the clocks and stuff like that without like jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then when you can still use that clock as a benefit, but then spend that time like. Because, dude, like, I mean, like we were saying, like, the weekend thing is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
So ridiculous, because you think that's just, like, a high school thing or a college thing, or, I mean, elementary school, any school, you probably were hyped for the weekend.
Yeah.
Any school ever, in college or something like that. And then you realize, well, out of college is the same exact shit. For most people, It's the same exact shit. They just have a different activity rather than going to JMU campus. Instead, they're going to some other campus, which is their job or whatever, spending their time there, going back, doing whatever they do after school or job, and wait for the weekend to arrive.
You know what I think it
And
comes
then
from?
since like preschool or first grade or something like that, you're doing this, like on a template level, you're doing the same thing since first grade.
Yeah.
You're just waiting out the weekdays and waiting for the weekends. And then you start thinking about, if you're adding that up, how many days are you waiting for something, and how many days are you, like, theoretically, if we say that the people who wait for a weekend have a productive weekend, then 5 days out of the week you're not doing shit that benefits you, and 2 days out of the week you are. But then you start thinking about that those 5 days of the week you're probably not benefiting that much because you're really looking forward to the weekend that whole time. But then the weekend, all you're doing is usually doing nothing.
Yeah.
So then you end up doing that in like 365 days a year, like 5 out of 7 of every day in that year is waiting for something. So waiting for those extra 2 days. And then those 2 days that you waited so long for, what do? You drink. Sit around doing nothing, recover from being hungover, probably eat shitty food because you're going out and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then you just start declining, and then you get to a certain age, and your body stops developing and starts like literally decomposing pretty much, and then you just die, and your whole life was spent like in this cycle of looking forward to the next weekend rather than, I mean, basic ass shit to say, living in the present rather than living in the present.
And this whole process that you're saying right now is something that I've been thinking about a lot, obviously. We've talked about it a lot. But I think it really comes down to people literally just not figuring out who they are. And, like, that takes time, like we were saying, spent by yourself, figuring out who you are. And I think a lot of people, they get stuck in that cycle, like you're saying. It's school, you know, you're ready for the weekend. Then the weekend comes, you're drinking, you're having fun, you're staying up late. And it's like this process that a lot of us get stuck in just because we haven't like truly asked ourselves, who am I and where do I want to go? And you're
Not
just
even where you want to go. What do you want?
Yeah, because you're like, if you don't take control of your own mind, I feel like we keep coming back to that concept. It's like, then you're literally just going to become part of other people's plans. Whether it's like higher scale stuff, you go and work for a job out of college, and then like you said, like a lot of people out of college, they get into the same thing where they have a whole week of work, and then on the weekend they're at the bars. It's just like this
Saturday
process
you hit brunch with the girls, brunch
Yeah.
with the boys, get some mimosas. That's darty.
And
And
look-
then you recover, and then that evening you go out to a bar,
Yeah.
and then Sunday you recover, and you're like, oh shit, I have work tomorrow. Same exact shit everyone does in college.
Stizzy, look, I feel like I get it because a lot of people are okay with that, right? Like that makes them enjoyable. But I think the thing that we have to realize is like some men, especially, like don't want to live that life. Like some men want a lot more.
Some women too.
And you can't, yeah, some women too. Like anybody, some people want more. And the thing is you can't just like want more and then not do anything about it and fall into these things. And I think it's scary.
Well, everyone wants more. I don't think there's anyone who's literally, like, genuinely deep down inside content.
Right. But then it
Not
comes
even
down to like how willing
not
you-
even. I mean, like, not even the pinnacle of what we're talking about, like David Goggins. He's not fucking. He's less content than we are with our own lifestyles, and he's doing way more with
Right.
his. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Second, crazy.
It's good.